Chicago, a city of constant motion, always striving, always innovating, always growing. In this city, we believe you can always go further, build higher. You can hear the pulse in the city's heartbeat, the waves of Lake Michigan, the businesses opening their doors, the people on the street. It's always present, always felt. Chicago didn't just invent the skyscraper. We put up magnificent towers that pierced the clouds. We didn't just improve the river, we crafted a beautiful urban oasis alongside it. We didn't just tidy up our lakefront. Visionaries like Daniel Burnham drafted a plan to protect these idyllic parks and pristine beaches forever. And for more than 119 years, the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce has been right there with us, propelling us forward with an unrelenting spirit that pervades the entire city. Innovative partnerships are breathing life into communities with jobs and opportunities. New neighborhoods are creating homes for creative small businesses, global corporations, and everything in between. Today, Chicago stands proudly at our country's crossroads. Our two airports confirm our place as America's hub and extend our reach across the world. Our digital infrastructure is meeting the needs of the skyrocketing role of data in the modern economy. And our work in clean energy puts us at the forefront of sustainability and new technology. But it all starts with our people. Wherever you go, you will find Chicago's diversity, depth of talent, and inclusive sense of community are truly second to none. We know that together, we can make Chicago even better. And the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce is here to help us get there. Because in Chicago, we don't see boundaries to limit us. We see new heights to reach.
Everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So good to be back with you. Welcome to the 32nd annual Daniel H. Burnham Award Dinner. Give yourselves a round of applause. Quite the cocktail hour. You guys have run into some new friends, old friends, hopefully, and you're here gathered together. So good to be with you. I am Val Warner from ABC 7 Chicago. Thank you so much for your support down through the years of ABC 7 and, of course, Windy City Live. I'm also a proud member of the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce. Wasn't that video, for those of you who are watching, wasn't it wonderful? Every time, it wasn't it? I knew I'd get a round of applause from you. Every time I see things like that, it makes me so proud to be a Chicagoan. How many of us in this room are proud to be from the best city in the world? We truly live in the most beautiful city, and it just takes my breath away. I'm sure it does yours every single time. It is so great to be back with you guys here at the Chamber. And I must say, back here, because the last time I was with you was back in 2021. Who was here in 2021? Quite a bit of you. Who's new this year? Do we have lots of new faces? Welcome. And you know what? For those of you who have been here before, what amazes me, we all look so much better now than we did 2 years ago. I think we got this reverse aging thing going on, maybe Benjamin Button. What do you guys think? Can we go with that? All right, let's just do that. But seriously, as you start on your salads and we get this program officially started, it is truly wonderful to be here tonight on this lovely night, surrounded by Chicago's top business and civic leaders. We are here tonight in the name of Daniel Burnham, a visionary who makes Chicago and helped make Chicago the city that it is today. And tonight's honoree, Bob Clark from Clayco, has played a similar role in boosting Chicago's status as one of the world's top cities. Bob is the founder and executive chair of Clayco, and you'll get a chance to learn a lot more about him from our speakers a little bit later on in the night. We're also going to hear from the man himself, and we're going to explore his deep commitment to this great city. The Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce was founded 5 years before the launch of the first Burnham Plan in 1909. In all the years since, the Chamber has been the unifying voice of the business community, serving as an advocate for our economy and a champion for all of its members. Standing right there with the Chamber today is CIBC, the presenting sponsor of tonight's event. So that's right, round of applause for CIBC, absolutely. So now, after this brief video, we're going to hear from Bob Frintzel, the Executive Managing Director and President of Commercial Banking with CIBC Bank USA.
The approach that CIBC has taken with us from day one was the wanting to understand our business so that we can ultimately create solutions together that work for both of us.
Well, good evening and welcome to 22nd annual Daniel Burnham Awards Dinner. I'm honored to be here tonight as we gather to celebrate the spirit of a visionary leader exemplified by Daniel Burnham. Burnham is a renowned architect, urban planner, and advocate for progress. His contributions to the city, planning and development have left an indelible mark on countless communities. He believed in the power of imagination, collaboration, and innovation to shape the future of our cities. He understood the strong communities are built on a foundation of shared vision, purpose, and determination. The legacy he left behind continues to inspire us at CIBC as we strive to make a positive impact on the communities that we serve. Our commitment to the community development aligns with Mr. Burnham's vision. Just like him, we believe in the transformative power of collaboration and the importance of investing in the future. Through our partnerships with local organizations, CIBC has been able to make a difference, a meaningful difference, in the lives of individuals and families across the communities. In fact, over the last 5 years, CIBC has provided just under $600 million in financing through Chicagoland, mostly focused on affordable housing. Most recently, we awarded $450,000 in grants to help address two of the most pressing needs impacting various U.S. communities: affordable housing and access to capital for small businesses. As of October 31st of this year, we financed our 51st property under the CIBC Housing Initiative, and we will extend beyond our original $10 million investment. These initiatives reflect our dedicated, thank you. I'm not as exciting as Val, but you gotta work with me, okay? These initiatives reflect our dedication creating opportunities, fostering inclusion, and empowering individuals to achieve their full potential. We are proud to be part of the legacy that values community and recognizes the importance of investing in its growth. As we gather here tonight, let us remember the words of Daniel Burnham: make big plans, aim high, and hope and work. Let's continue to collaborate and work towards a future where our communities flourish. Thank you once again for joining us, and I hope you have a memorable evening celebrating the legacy of Daniel Burnham and the collective efforts that shape the communities we are so proud to call home. Thank you.
Please welcome Judy Martinez-Faye, a member of the Chicagoland Chamber Executive Committee and Head of External Affairs for Siemens Government Affairs.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining the Chicagoland Chamber here tonight. For me, it's been a very special year this year with the Chamber, even though I've been a member for so many years. It's a great honor for me this year to be invited to sit on the executive board of the Chamber and to be chair of the new infrastructure committee. It's been wonderful to lead those efforts, and I have to say too, thank you. This moment in time being here with all of you is also very special for me personally, and I'm just wanting to take it in because it marks a journey in my life and in my career, from being born in the little village neighborhood of Chicago to now sitting on the Chicago Chamber Executive Committee and representing a Fortune 500 company like Siemens. So I thank you for sharing in this moment with me. And it makes me especially proud to introduce one of Chicago's most esteemed leaders and loyal public servants, Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle. Yes. I first met President Preckwinkle 25 years ago at one of her 4th Ward community police meetings when I was a Cook County State's Attorney. And I was immediately struck by her courage and her passion and her dedication. And over the years, as a fellow female of color, I have watched her energetically champion issues of affordable housing, healthcare, and education in low-income communities. And when I think of President Preckwinkle, 3 values come to my mind: integrity, perseverance, and of course, fearlessness. And President, I came up with those. As Cook County Board President, she has solved some $3 billion in budget deficits and reduced unfunded pension liabilities by roughly $2 billion. And she's abolished debt for thousands of Cook County residents. Plus, she recently released the budget for 2024, and there were no new taxes or fees included in that budget. Yes, thank you. We all benefit from this remarkable degree of fiscal stewardship. President Preckwinkle's leadership embodies the core values of the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce, which are focused on making the Chicagoland region a wonderful place to live and work. The Chamber continues to work closely with President Preckwinkle and her administration to generate ideas and policies that will drive economic development and jobs throughout the region. So please join me right now in welcoming Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I want to thank Judy for that kind introduction. I'm grateful to be here tonight among the leaders of our business community and individuals who play a vital role in shaping our city and our county. My congratulations to our honoree this evening, my friend Bob Clark. Tonight we gather not only to celebrate the accomplishments that have already been achieved, but also collectively envision a future that is equitable, safe, and prosperous for all of us. The Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce plays a critical role in this work. With its more than 1,000 members, the Chamber is a hub of innovation and economic strength. Your commitment to the growth and well-being of our region is commendable, and I'm eager to collaborate on building a future that leaves no one behind. As we reflect on the significance of Daniel Burnham, we're reminded of his legacy. His words, "Make no little plans," urge us to think big and dream even bigger. Let's draw inspiration from Burnham's vision and set forth our own ambitious plans to elevate Chicago and Cook County. Cook County's vision for an equitable future involves creating opportunities for all residents, regardless of background or zip code. This means fostering an inclusive environment where every individual can thrive and contribute to the success of our county. We must work collaboratively to address systemic inequities, ensuring that the benefits of growth are shared by everyone. It's important to note that safety is paramount to the prosperity of any community. To create a truly prosperous Cook County, we must prioritize public safety, working hand in hand with law enforcement, communities, and residents to build trust and develop effective strategies for prevention. A safe environment is the bedrock of a thriving community. My administration is committed to fostering safe and healthy communities across the county. The Cook County region boasts a talented workforce, a strategic location, making us the nation's transportation hub, numerous natural assets, such as the lakefront and the largest forest preserve system in the country, and a diverse economy. We must build on our strengths and advance equity across the region. Helping all communities and all residents will not just benefit those with the highest need, it benefits all of us. We all benefit economically and psychologically when everyone thrives. Some of you know that I grew up in Minnesota, and the late Minnesota Senator Paul Wellstone always said, "We all do better when we all do better." Thank you.
Let's give another round of applause to President Preckwinkle. Thank you for your time, your words. We all do better when we all do better. Thank you so much for being here tonight and for your leadership over the years. Now, it is my honor to introduce our next speaker. From his time in the private sector to his government service, he's always made economic opportunity and job creation his #1 priority. Believe me, there is no greater champion for this great city of Chicago and its economy than the person I'm going to bring to the stage right now. Please welcome the president and CEO of the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce, Jack Lavin.
Thank you, Val. It's so good to see you here again. We love your work, and we're so glad to have you with us tonight. I want to thank all of you for being part of the 32nd Annual Daniel H. Burnham Award Dinner, and I'm thrilled to be here tonight to recognize Bob Clark, founder and executive chair of Clayco. Before I start, I'd like to thank President Preckwinkle for being here tonight and for your leadership and tireless service and the amazing fiscal stability that you have brought to Cook County. Let's give her another round of applause. Thank you also to the Chicagoland Chamber Board of Directors for your partnership and support. Your help advocating for Chicago's business community is so valuable, and I'm very grateful for all your work. I'd also like to acknowledge our Chamber Executive Committee member, Bob Wislow, for your tremendous efforts in making tonight's celebration happen. And to all our event committee co-chairs here tonight. A special thanks to our board chair, Kevin Cassidy, for your leadership of the Chamber and for your work on behalf of the entire business community. Your dedication and commitment to Chicago is an inspiration to us all. Let's give Kevin a round of applause. Tonight's event came together because of our terrific team at the Chicagoland Chamber. I want to thank them, and in particular, Mary Ann Floriano, for their dedication to supporting our members and the entire business community. Please give them a round of applause. I would also like to recognize and thank my wife, Kathy, the CEO of Gateway to Learning, for her unending love, patience, and support. I am thankful for the investment that Chamber members and supporters have provided for tonight's Burnham dinner. Our work is more important than ever, and your support is essential to our success. First, I want to thank our presenting sponsor for the 7th consecutive year, CIBC, and in particular, Bob Frintzel and Brian Greenblatt with the Chamber's Executive Committee for their incredible support of the Burnham dinner. Our leadership sponsor is Clayco. Let's give Clayco a round. I also want to recognize our benefactor sponsors, Abbott, Aon, BDO, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, BMO, Comcast, Exelon, GCM Grosvenor, Illinois Toolworks, Mesero Financial, Motorola Solutions, One Central, PNC Bank, United Airlines, and Walgreens. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you also to Glenn's Wines for the wonderful wines we're drinking tonight. That'll get a round of applause. And thank you to all our other sponsors. Your investment helps ensure that we can continue to advocate for our members and bring you the programming, connections, and resources you need to grow your business. We truly appreciate your partnership. I'm excited to be here tonight to honor Bob Clark. He is a remarkable leader for Chicago in both business and civic life. As executive chair and founder of Clayco, Bob's impact on Chicago has been extraordinary. Daniel Burnham urged us to make no little plans, and generations of business leaders in Chicago have heeded this call to action and worked to create a world-class city. Many of these leaders are past Burnham Award winners, and it's abundantly clear that Bob has taken Burnham's quote to heart as he joins this prestigious group. Clayco's presence in Chicago has been, in a word, transformational. In just over 10 years, this company has become an integral part of our city with projects that include Willis Tower, One Fulton Market, O'Hare Airport, and the creation of new data centers across the region. In fact, the first time I met Bob almost 10 years ago, he gave me a very enthusiastic Data Center 101 tutorial that detailed why these buildings are so important to the future of Chicagoland. Bob, thank you for your friendship, your innovative leadership, and your commitment to Chicago. This evening is named after Daniel Burnham, who realized that Chicago needed to move forward in a thoughtful way. So he drafted a visionary plan that imagined what Chicago could be, and then he set about getting us there. We are seeing a similar evolution in our city today. Just as Daniel Burnham wrote a plan to create a new future for Chicago in 1909, we are working tirelessly to build a new Chicago now. The Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce has been an integral part of this evolution of Burnham's plan. As Chicagoland's leading independent voice for business, we have been fighting this fight for more than 119 years. We helped lay the foundation for a better Chicago by focusing on infrastructure. We partnered with Governor J.B. Pritzker and the General Assembly to build our transportation and clean energy infrastructure, attract federal dollars with Innovate Illinois, and boost Illinois' data center industry, which is now ranked number 5 in the world. We have been a champion of an almost $10 billion O'Hare modernization plan that keeps us connected to the world and makes our airports one of our greatest assets. This type of work, these investments and collaborations have helped Illinois become number 2 in the nation for infrastructure. We've also collaborated to create a strong base with our greatest asset, our talent, by helping to improve education and putting equity and inclusion at the forefront. We helped expand our educational programs that teach students about everything from data infrastructure to computer science. From our 2022 Tech Effects study, we initiated and passed the iGrow Tech Scholarship Program, which provides incentives to keep our STEM graduates right here in Illinois after graduation. We worked with Mayor Johnson's office to boost youth and summer employment by making connections with the business community. These partnerships, along with many others between the private and public sectors, have led Illinois to be ranked number 2 in the nation for education. What we're doing in Chicago is working, because in addition to these high grades for infrastructure and education, Chicago was named the top city in the United States by Condé Nast Traveler magazine for the 7th year in a row. And the word is getting around. Next year, the Democratic National Convention is coming here. The DNC could have gone anywhere in the country, but they chose Chicago. And it's clear to see why, because Chicago is second to none. We have a diversity and depth of talent that no other city can match. We boast world-renowned restaurants, beautiful venues, and a stunning lakefront. Our dual airport system and transportation infrastructure are world-class. Clearly, this is all good, but there's still a lot of work yet to be done. Because that same study that ranked Illinois number 2 in infrastructure and number 2 in education ranked us number 32 in cost of doing business and number 39 in business friendliness. We can do better than that. We must do better than that. At the Chamber, we are working to address these very issues. We led a diverse coalition of Chicago's businesses in recent weeks to fight the most expensive and complicated form of paid leave in the country. And we continue to push back against skyrocketing property taxes. We are working to enact common sense employer protections under BIPA to help prevent the costly litigation that continues to hurt Illinois businesses. We are also your champion for reforming our unfunded pension liabilities, a critical issue for fiscal stability and a strong future economy. Public safety, new taxes, burdensome regulations and mandates, the list of challenges is long. To take the next step and truly move Chicago forward, we need to keep working together, public sector and private sector. Keep collaborating, keep striving, keep building. We all know Daniel Burnham's quote about making no little plans, but he also said this: a well-designed city can inspire its citizens to dream big, work hard, and create a better future. We are the people of Chicago. We have never shied away from a challenge, and we're not going to start now. So I stand here tonight to ask you, join us. Help us solidify our place as a global leader, standing tall and proud together. Because we are all here, all in this remarkable city, from the gleaming buildings that make up our skyline to the calming waves of Lake Michigan. And the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce is fighting to help ensure Chicago remains one of the top global cities of the 21st century for all of us, now and in the future. Thank you again for your continued support of the Chamber, and congratulations again to Bob Clark. Thank you.
Now, I am going to hand it over to Kevin Cassidy, Chief Growth Office of Healthcare Service Corporation and Chair of the Board of Directors of the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce. The stage is yours. Ladies and gentlemen, please give your undivided attention to Kevin Cassidy.
Good evening, everyone. And thank you, Val. And I do what Val says too. So nice job, Val, bringing the room down. So thanks. And it's great to see everyone tonight. And I'm really glad you could be with us for this special occasion, coming out tonight in Chicago. How about this amazing weather? And we'll give a round of applause to the weather. I like that. It doesn't happen much here in Chicago this time of year. I'm about to talk to you about Bob Clark in a few minutes, and he's an amazing individual and you'll hear a little bit about that. But before I get started, I want to thank the Chamber Board of Directors for your dedication to this organization and what we do to really help drive a dynamic economy here in Chicago. Thank you very much. Now, a little closer to the ground, I'd like to thank Jack Lavin and the Chamber staff for your outstanding work, especially over these last couple challenging 2 to 3 years. Your dedication to our city and to the business community is truly remarkable, and I couldn't be more proud to be in this position and work with you all. Jack and team, thank you very much. You heard earlier about the sponsorship, and I'd like to thank Bob and Brian for your commitment from CIBC, for your continued support for everyone's benefit. This is the 7th consecutive year serving as presenting sponsor of this event, and they recently renewed for 3 more years, starting with tonight. So thank you very much. It takes support like that to do these things. You know, the Burnham continues to be a wonderful experience, I believe, and I hope you as our guests agree with that, and really, really enjoy this special evening honoring Bob Clark, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I would like to take a moment and give a special hello to Alejandro Silva. Alejandro, let's give him a round of applause. Alejandro, stand up, would you please? Alejandro is the founding partner of Silva Capital Management, and he was Burnham honoree in 2014. Wonderful to be here. Thank you for joining us tonight. Like a lot of people in this room, I go to a lot of events, but I always look forward to tonight. Why? Well, tonight is really an opportunity for us to recognize one of our own with the Daniel H. Burnham Award for Distinguished Leadership. I mean, think of those words, for distinguished leadership. And as you know, Burnham is not just a person from Chicago's past. He's one of the most important figures in Chicago's history of growth. And his legacy, it's amazing, still echoes throughout the city. To me, and these are just my thoughts, the Burnham Award honoree is someone who leads in the following: a vision of growth, a person who sees a bigger picture, and someone who embraces a collaborative, diverse, and inclusive spirit. Let me just remind you some of what the Chamber is about. The Chamber has a future-focused agenda to drive a dynamic economy. Let me say that again, a future-focused agenda to drive a dynamic economy. And now I'd like to take a few minutes to share with you some examples of how our honoree has been a major influencer in driving a dynamic economy. So tonight's honoree, as you've heard, is Bob Clark, an individual who exemplifies the personal and professional qualities that characterize Burnham's vision. I think everyone in this room is familiar with Bob's work as co-founder and executive chair of Clayco. Very, very impressive. We also know the large role he's played in Chicago. Some examples include the work at the University of Chicago Medical Center or Loyola University. But let me tell you a couple things that I think are even more impactful. Bob's work has created scholarship programs at multiple schools, countless internships. Hang on to these words, check this out. Research in cancer and rare diseases, deaf education, investments in diversity and inclusion, work with Habitat for Humanity, and much, much more. All I can say is very impressive, Bob, well done. When I had an opportunity to not only read some of this and learn a little bit more, really what all this proved to me is that Bob realizes a city is only as good as its people. And the better we are all doing, the better we all can become. Bob's wide-ranging vision dates back to when he was in 4th grade, I'm told, looking out a school window. A new building was being constructed across the way, and Bob was fascinated. After school, Bob would explore the construction site, trying to take it all in. And now look how much you've accomplished. So that's how his lifelong interest in construction began. And now, all these years later, Bob has raised a family, founded Clayco, and literally changed cities all over the world. So here are some numbers that illustrate what I'm talking about and what Bob and his company have accomplished. These numbers are almost unbelievable. Hear me out. Just a couple more minutes, I promise. More than 600 iconic complex projects in the United States, 600. Over 275 million square feet of new construction, 118 million square feet of renovation. Created thousands of jobs and impacted people's lives everywhere. So beyond that, I can tell you Bob is a really cool guy, maybe even a Renaissance man. To get an idea of what I'm talking about, take the time and check out his blog, bobclarkbeyond.com. And I've been hearing a little bit about it tonight. At his blog, he posts book reviews, does in-depth analysis of innovative architecture, and even writes about some people that inspire him. Clearly Bob has brought his adventurous spirit to Chicago and to Clayco. His bold vision has led to critical developments at places like O'Hare Airport, our global transportation hub. Also, his company data centers, which you heard Jack talk about, are putting Illinois at the forefront of modern, sustainable buildings, and we need that. We like to lead. These are just a couple examples. And Bob's work has fostered an innovative, entrepreneurial culture and built a strong base that will allow Chicago to thrive, not just now, but in the future. As Burnham said, and the Chamber agrees, business community always leads the way. That's what we see with Bob Clark and his life's work. And all that helps drive, as I said earlier, the important work at the Chamber, which is drive a dynamic economy. Thank you, Bob, for all you've done, and congratulations. Let's give him another round of applause.
The Daniel Burnham Award historically has been given to people who have run big public companies. But I think Bob Clark is unique in a couple of ways. He didn't come from Chicago. He came to expand a business that was outgrowing St. Louis, and he decided that Chicago was the place in the nation to expand that business. Then quickly grew to be one of the largest contractors in the nation. In the midst of doing that, he became a fixture in the Chicago community.
I had the good fortune of meeting Bob Clark right when he first relocated his company to Chicago, and he immediately became engaged with the community of businesses and subcontractors owned by people of color and women. His focus on the success of people of color and women in the construction industry is unparalleled.
Commercial real estate has a real diversity challenge. So to have a leader that says like, hey, we want to do something about this and we want to do it well, that feels amazing. I think it just speaks to the type of leader that Bob is.
If someone is in need, that's when Bob is his best.
I mean, I'll never forget when Bob and I went to a jobs meeting, and there was a wonderful woman sitting about 4 chairs away from us in the front row, and she was a single mother wanting to get in the construction business. He saw that she had potential. Bob hired her, he mentored her, and she's gone on to be a very important part of Clayco's operation. And this is somebody who didn't have a job, was afraid to talk to Bob when he walked up and talked to her and handed a card, and he made an important part of the organization. That's just a snippet of what he does with people.
I went to this event, I went early, dressed nice, met the owner of Clayco, Bob Clark, and the rest is kind of history.
There's any number of young men and young women who, without Bob, would be in hard straits right now in their lives.
Bob's impact looks like a lot of things, and we talk about mentorship and diverse workforce, but it also goes beyond that. And it is, how can we as a business make our community just a better place to be in?
Bob has always said when he passes on, if he's known for any one building he ever built, he would have done this wrong. He wants to be known for his community giving back and the company doing the same.
Clayco is a major supporter of the community. You see the Clayco name on so many things.
He takes it very literal when he says, wherever we are doing business, we engage in that community to make a difference, not just commercially, but socially.
I think Bob's a great example of how impact translates into the broader world in so many different ways. Certainly his impact on the national stage with his dedication to certain national political issues, his relationship with presidents of the United States, his role representing the United States at World Expo in Dubai. These are all examples of his impact, both locally, nationally, and internationally.
Bob absolutely puts his money where his mouth is as it relates to making a difference in the community and making a real impact. And he's just getting started, and you can see that he's learned everything that he's learned. He's made all of the relationships that he's made all the way up until today. He's built the brand, and he will absolutely use all of those things to make the biggest amount of change and difference for the rest of his life.
Please welcome Jack Lavin, Chicagoland Chamber President and CEO, back to the stage.
So before we bring Bob Clark to the stage, I want to share a congratulatory letter from a special friend of Bob's, the President of the United States, Joe Biden. To no one's surprise, the President had very high praise for Bob, so let me read a few key parts of the letter. I got to put my readers on here. Dear Bob, it is my honor to join your family, friends, and colleagues in congratulating you on receiving the Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce Daniel H. Burnham Award for Distinguished Leadership. Bob, I have always believed that America can be defined by one word, possibilities. And it's visionary Americans like you who carry on the torch of possibilities at the core of who we are. You have made these possibilities come alive, creating good jobs and helping build an economy that works for working people. From your leadership at Clayco to your service as the U.S. Commissioner General of the USA Pavilion at the 2020 World Expo in Dubai, you have always remained committed to the advancement of this great nation. You have helped transform the industrial landscape of America, driving progress in the Midwest and far beyond. And your pursuit of excellence, drive to create, and passion for giving back have opened the doors of opportunity and possibility wider for the next generation. As the Chicago community gathers to celebrate all you have contributed to our people, our economy, and our world, I offer my sincerest congratulations. Thank you for living the life of big plans, big ideas, and big dreams. We are a better nation for it. I wish you, Jane, and your entire family all the best. Sincerely, Joe Biden. What a great letter, and for a true American hero. And now to introduce Bob Clark, I'd like to welcome Bob Wislow, former chair of the Chamber's Board of Directors, a member of the Chamber's Executive Committee, and chair and CEO of Parkside Realty. Please welcome Bob Wislow.
Thank you, Jack. How do you follow Joe Biden, Bob? Can't do it. Good evening, everybody. It's really a true honor to be here tonight to introduce my great friend, Bob Clark. You've heard earlier this evening that Bob relocated himself and Clayco to Chicago in 2010. At that time, Bob had 400 employees here in Chicago, 970 employees nationwide, and revenues of $750 million. But moving here to Chicago, Bob used this city as his base and expanded his company in 13 short years and propelled Clayco to have over 850 employees here in Chicago, 2,975 employees nationwide, and an annual revenue of $5.2 billion. Pretty remarkable. Since moving here, Bob has completed major Chicago projects other than the 600 and some that you heard about before, such as the Willis Tower repositioning, the Marshall Field State Street renovation, 21 projects at O'Hare Airport, the Cook County campus building, and the beautiful Zurich North American building in Schaumburg. And while at the same time he was serving on the boards of the University of Chicago Medical Center, Loyola University After School Matters, and the Chicago Architectural Biennial. And on top of that, Bob was appointed by President Obama to the White House Preservation Committee and by President Biden as the Commissioner General of the U.S. Pavilion at the World Expo in Dubai. In Daniel Burnham's fashion, this is certainly one man who makes no little plans and who is well deserving of tonight's award. I'd like to share 3 of my favorite personal stories about Bob tonight. With his passion for building, Bob thought that getting an architectural degree would be a good background for the construction industry. Didn't know how that quite fit for somebody in 4th grade who spent all his time staring out the window at a construction site. But 5 weeks into college, Bob went to a lecture describing the work life and the income potential for an architect. He immediately dropped out of college, started his first business, and never looked back. On the first day that Bob started Clayco in 1982, a 12-year-old African-American boy named Todd Weaver came to his office and asked Bob for a job. He had to take care of his family and he had to earn money. Bob told Todd that if he would stay in school and come to Clayco with his homework after school, Bob would find work for him in the shop in the evenings and on the weekends. Bob got to know Todd and his mother, who was quite ill, and over time, he invited Todd to come live with Bob and his family. They supported Todd all the way through school, and Todd became a member of the Clark family. Bob introduced Todd to the construction industry, and today, Todd is a CEO and owner of one of the largest minority construction companies in the country, with over $150 million in annual revenue. And Todd, his wife, and his 3 boys remain full members of the Clark family. When I joined Bob in Dubai for the closing ceremonies of the World Expo, I was so impressed to see a huge crowd of foreign dignitaries who gathered from every country to join Bob at his farewell party. I quickly learned that the reason the crowd was so huge and there were so many people from so many countries was Bob was the only Commissioner General who paid an official visit to every one of the 161 country pavilions. A daunting and exhausting task. It's that kind of commitment to detail, passion, hard work, and sense of obligation that distinguishes Bob from the rest of the pack. Daniel Burnham's full quote was, "Make no little plans, for they lack the magic to stir men's blood." Bob is one of those people that has the magic to stir men's bloods. Bob, it's a great honor to introduce you tonight for the Burnham Award. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. When we get home tonight, Jane is going to say, "Don't leave your clothes on the floor." That's a lot of Bob Clark that you heard. And I'm very humbled. Thank you guys very much. Thanks, Jack Lavin. Thank you to the Chamber. It seems a little overwhelming to me, really, quite frankly. I have a lot of friends in the audience tonight. I'd like to thank Susan Schur, who's out here. Susan. Susan and I went on a mission for President Obama and flew around to look at all the presidential libraries, which was actually great fun to kind of come back and tell him what they were all about. He didn't listen to us. So, but we had fun anyway. My beautiful wife, Jane, here, Jane, make me clean my room. My beautiful daughter, Emily, and her wonderful husband, Dan North. Emily Boyle, my loyal assistant who guides me every step of the way. Trust me, I'd be totally lost. I'd be someplace else tonight going, where am I supposed to be? Emily Boyle came to Dubai with Jane and I, and thank you, Emily Boyle. She actually, before helping me find my way around, helped President Obama find his way around, and basically I stole her from him. So, and then he stole Lori Healy from me. So it's like we're going to get each other back. Anyway, so thankful. Lamar Johnson's here. David Reithman, thank you guys. Glenn Eden is here tonight, who we had a great conversation about the way forward recently for Chicago. One of the reasons that I made Chicago my home back in 2010 was because of the amazing business community, and no small part to the Chamber itself. I was so impressed with the way the Chamber engages and welcomed me to the community. I never felt like an outsider. I felt like somebody that could be an asset from day one, and that was because of the amazing Chamber and the work that you all do. In my work across the country, and you've seen a little bit of it, we have projects right now today in over 45 communities, cities and towns, and my work as Commissioner General in the Middle East. There's no place that has more potential than Chicago. It's a city that works. It is the city that works. And it has grit and determination, and it's just an amazing place. It has the ocean. Bob has crossed that out of my speech. But I thought it was an ocean. How many places have the ocean? And we have the ocean, we have amazing universities. The best schools possibly in the world. And great leadership in those schools too. It's an incredible tourism destination, the Magnificent Mile, shopping. You all know that. Chicago has the most diversified economy in the nation. This is really an important fact that no industry represents more than 15% of the city's economy. And that's really critical when you think of San Francisco being so tech-based, or, you name it, all the petroleum-based cities or whatever. Chicago really has an incredibly diversified business space. It creates an unbelievable ecosystem of innovation, and also is a perfect place to make a hallmark of diversity and inclusion. The city also had this is an incredible fact, I didn't know this until a few days ago, $825 million of hotel revenue last June through August. That's incredible. People are coming here from all over the world, and it remains one of the top tourism places. I know when Rahm became the mayor, Mike Bloomberg came down and they had a chat, and Mike said, tourism, tourism, tourism. Don't forget how critically important this kind of component of the economy is. And Rahm listened to him and paid attention, and we all should, because it is a critical part of our economy. And we were named, you heard earlier, the best big U.S. city by Condé Nast Travelers, and that was actually a vote of the people that took the survey. In the 7th year in a row, the best city. I sat in front of Mayor Johnson when he was inaugurated. And the mayor's speech was powerful and thought-provoking. But what really stood out for me that day was the prayer by Reverend Moss. I don't know how many of you were there. I was listening really carefully, and I don't think anybody here would disagree with his basic tapestry of diversity, blessing request in his prayer for a dream of a city yet to be born, one city not divided, where everyone has equal opportunity, justice, and equity. And Chicago has everything right now and in the past, but we can easily go backwards if we're not collaborating hand in hand. The neighborhoods, the clergy, the business community, and our elected government working together. I can guarantee you in the cities where I'm working, where prosperity is taking the field, all of these things are working at the same time. Cities that have unbelievable visions about getting the Olympics or about having a major airport expansion are not doing it with just the government or with just the people in the clergy. They're doing it as a collaborative group. One key thing that we have to do in Chicago, where we are lagging behind, is only 60% of our people are back in the office. I'm a huge advocate for getting people back in the office. This is true. When the vaccine came out, and this is, maybe not everybody's going to agree with this, but when the vaccine came out, I sent an email to all my employees. I said, get vaccinated, come back to work, or go find a job someplace else. It was very effective. Everybody came back. This is really necessary to revitalize our restaurants, our small businesses who are suffering, and to continue in the circle of life. Even Zoom, the company Zoom, is requiring their employees to come back. It requires courage and resolve of the business leadership community. In my case, it required fear. I thought, holy shit, I'm gonna go broke. But, what happens is it could cause attrition. You could lose employees. And now I'm talking to the decision makers in the room. Some of your employees will leave, they'll quit, they'll go someplace else. And it'll also be a real cost to make a bargain with your employees to bring them back. And some people don't agree that you have to make a bargain. We, as an example, feed everybody in our office every day. This year it's going to cost us $2 million to feed our employees who've come back to work. We feed them every day, good food, healthy food. Some of them want a Big Mac, but we're not paying for that. We granted more flexibility. We changed what were barbaric maternity leave rules for mothers and dads too. Think about before the pandemic, women were having babies and coming back to work in 4 weeks or 6 weeks. That is freaking crazy. And we can do better. And we are. We're changing those rules. A thing that I've really learned lately, which is heartbreaking to me, is I sent an email out to my employees just a few weeks ago and asked them if they had student loans. And it makes me cry to read the emails. I've had over 250 emails from employees who have predatory loans, student loans, and they are being crushed by this. This is a burden that they have, which is keeping them from being the best team members they can be. I have employees that have over $200,000 in student loans. I have a woman that works in my company who has a $120,000 loan that started out as a $90,000 loan. And her credit has been destroyed. She can't even get an apartment without somebody co-signing, and she didn't even finish getting her degree. I mean, it is an overwhelming burden, and it is up to the leaders of the business community to help take the burden off of these team members. And Clayco is going to do that. Those are the kind of things, the trade-offs that we have to do as businesses to bring our people back to work and to revitalize our economy. The government also has to do their part. Right now, employees are returning to a less than desirable situation. It doesn't feel safe. It's not comfortable. I don't know how many of you have been on CTA lately and Metro, and I'm not criticizing them. It's a tough conundrum, but it doesn't feel comfortable. And it's up to the government and to our agencies to make it feel better and safer and more comfortable. It's a bargain for both of us. And the city also is going to have to, and the state, help transform some of our obsolete buildings into residential and create a residential loop. And I can imagine it. I can imagine it happening quickly, but we're not going to do it without cooperation. And we have to help our small businesses that are starving and really struggling, and the government can help in that regard as well. I'm friends with Mayor Emanuel, and I respect him a lot, but he was perceived to have had too much focus on the business community and white-collar job creation. And Mayor Lightfoot and I developed a good relationship with her, totally focused on equity in the community as an example with her South and Southwest initiative, and kind of ignored the business community and the white-collar worker. My hope and prayer for the new mayor, who's not here notably tonight, is a balanced collaboration and a hands-on approach with the business community, and have the business community and a hands-on approach to help solve the city's biggest and most complicated problems. It's going to take both of these forces working together in a hands-on way. We'd all agree that the world is in a dangerous place right now. Maybe the most dangerous time in our lifetimes, with some of the largest looming problems of our lifetime. And it's hard to figure out what's right and what's wrong. But the greatest problems of the world, I can guarantee you, start close to home, right here, right in our neighborhoods. And every person has the power to make an impact. We can decide to fight the biggest threat, I think, to all of us, which is the inequity among us. The vast differences between the haves and have-nots. The wealth gap gets bigger and wider every day. And if we don't collectively work together to reduce the gap, it will bite all of us in a way that we're not going to be very comfortable with. And the people in this room have the power, money, and influence and long track records of making a difference in the community. All of you are obviously here tonight because you care about the community and you're focused on the community. But right now is a time to double down, and businesses need to do every single thing they can do to help make a difference. And the same goes for the city. Having a city that works has always helped all of us in Chicago. We can expand our work in the communities that need us the most. We can hire the underemployed. We can invest substantial time and effort into the meaningful youth programs that the mayor is so desperately trying to make a part of his successful future, and hold ourselves accountable to a much more diverse workforce. If we do these things hand in hand with the government and business community, we'll gain a competitive advantage for the city of Chicago, which is actually the city of hope. Thank you. Thank you so much for humbling me tonight.
Thank you for joining us this evening.